The moment I saw that text from my mom, my heart stopped. Don't contact us again. Just like that, 3 words that shattered everything I thought I knew about home, about family, about love. I stared at my phone in disbelief, fingers frozen over the screen, as if touching it might somehow undo the words. I wanted to scream, to beg, to cry, but nothing came out. How could my own mother send a message like this? It wasn't just a fight. This was something deeper. Something I had no idea was building beneath the surface for years. I replayed every memory in my head, the dinners, the laughter, the arguments I thought were normal. Were they really normal? Or had I been blind to the cracks spreading through my family all along? I tried to call her back immediately, but each ring went unanswered. My messages ignored. I even considered driving to her house, but a voice in my head whispered, "Not yet, wait, watch, remember." That was the first sign that whatever had been brewing was bigger than I realized. The next day, I tried to focus on my life. Work, friends, distractions. I threw myself into everything to escape the crushing weight of that text. But my phone kept buzzing. Notifications, missed calls, messages from unknown numbers, all ignored by me. I told myself I was strong, that I wouldn't give in to whatever game was being played, but deep down, I couldn't stop thinking about why she would say something so cold, so final. Then it happened. 2 days later, I woke up to a screen full of notifications, 58 missed calls. 58. From my mom, my heart raced as I scrolled through them, confusion turning into panic. Why would she call me so desperately after telling me never to contact her again? Something had changed. Something had gone terribly wrong. I tried calling back immediately, but every ring felt heavier than the last. Her voicemail started to fill up, frantic and shaky. And then I noticed the messages, some sent just minutes apart, each one more desperate than the last. "Please come home. I need you. I can't do this without you." It didn't make sense. The very woman who had cast me away, who had built a wall around her heart and told me to stay out of her life, was now begging me to step back into a world I had been pushed away from. Something had happened. Something dark, something she was too proud to admit until she realized she had no other choice. And in that moment, staring at my phone, I realized I held all the power now. Every ignored call, every sleepless night, every unanswered message had shifted the balance. The game had changed, but what had driven her to this point? What secret, what betrayal could have forced my mother to go from shutting me out completely to pleading for my presence with 58 missed calls in just 48 hours? That's when I found the first clue. The first clue wasn't in her messages. It was in a call from my cousin Daniel. Daniel never called me, not unless something serious had happened. So when I saw his name flash across my screen, just minutes after I noticed the 58 missed calls, a cold feeling crawled up my spine. I answered slowly. "Hello?" There was silence for a second. Then Daniel spoke, his voice low and uneasy. Did you talk to your mom yet?" My stomach tightened. "No," I said. "She told me not to contact her. Remember?" Another pause. "Yeah," he muttered. "About that, things are complicated." I leaned back in my chair, my mind racing. "Daniel," I said slowly, "what's going on?" He exhaled heavily, like someone carrying a secret too heavy to keep. "You really don't know, do you?" "Know what?" Another pause, then he said something that made my blood run cold. "Your mom didn't send that text." For a moment, I thought I heard him wrong. What? That message, the one saying don't contact us again. It wasn't her. My fingers tightened around the phone. "That's impossible," I said. "It came from her number." "I know," Daniel said quietly. "But trust me, she didn't send it." My mind started spinning. If she didn't send the text, then who did? And why? "Daniel," I said carefully. "Start explaining." He hesitated again. "Look, I probably shouldn't be the one telling you this. Your mom wanted to talk to you herself. That's why she's been calling nonstop." My chest felt heavy. "Then talk." He sighed. 2 nights ago, the night you got that message, there was a huge fight at your mom's house. I sat up straighter. A fight. With Mark. My jaw tightened instantly. Mark, my stepfather. Even saying his name in my head felt bitter. Mark had entered our lives 5 years ago. Charming, smiling, acting like the perfect man. But something about him always felt wrong to me. Small things at first. The way he spoke over my mom. The way he controlled conversations. The way he subtly pushed me out of family decisions. Every time I pointed it out, my mom defended him. "You're imagining things. Mark just cares about us now. You're being unfair." Eventually, I stopped trying. But hearing Daniel mention his name now made my instincts scream. "What about Mark?" I asked slowly. Daniel lowered his voice. "They had a huge argument?" "About what?" "You." My heart skipped. "Me?" "Yeah. Apparently, Mark said it was time your mom stopped babying you." I scoffed bitterly. "Exactly," Daniel said. "But it got worse." "How?" Daniel hesitated. Then he said something that made my chest tighten. He took her phone. "What?" "During the argument." He grabbed it. My mind started connecting pieces. "No," Daniel continued. "Your mom thought he was just trying to stop her from calling someone, but later she realized he sent a message from her phone." My breathing slowed. "That message?" I whispered. "Yeah." My hand started shaking. "So Mark texted me, pretending to be my mom, telling me to never contact them again." Daniel sighed. "That's what it looks like." For a moment, the room felt too quiet, too still. All the pain from those 2 days suddenly felt different. It wasn't rejection, it was manipulation, and suddenly everything from the past 5 years started making sense. Mark isolating my mom from friends, Mark starting arguments whenever I visited, Mark constantly making jokes about how I was too involved in her life. He wasn't just annoyed with me, he wanted me gone, completely gone. So why is my mom calling now, I asked. Daniel's voice dropped. Because she found out? A chill ran through me. How? She saw the message in her sent folder. My heart pounded. And she confronted him. I waited. Daniel went quiet for a few seconds before continuing. From what I heard, it didn't go well. What does that mean? Neighbors heard shouting. A lot of it. My stomach twisted. And then, Daniel hesitated. Mark left. What? He packed a bag and stormed out. The news hit me like a sudden shift in gravity. Mark was gone, but that still didn't explain the desperation. Then why the 58 calls? I asked. Daniel exhaled slowly. Because when he left, he took something with him. My chest tightened again. What? Another pause. Then Daniel said the words that made my blood turn ice cold. He cleaned out their joint bank account. I sat there in stunned silence. Every dollar. Gone? Daniel continued. Your mom didn't realize until yesterday morning. I rubbed my forehead trying to process everything. So he isolates her from family, sends me away, then drains the account and disappears. Yeah, and now she's alone. Pretty much. My phone buzzed again. Another call. Mom number 59. I stared at the screen. 2 days ago, I thought she had abandoned me. Now I knew someone else had been pulling the strings. But something still didn't feel right. Daniel, I said slowly. Yeah. Why didn't she just explain that in the messages? Daniel went quiet. Too quiet. Daniel! His voice came back softer. There's one more thing. My stomach dropped. What? He hesitated again. Then finally said, Your mom thinks Mark didn't just take the money. A chill ran down my spine. What do you mean? Daniel lowered his voice to almost a whisper. She thinks he took something else too. My grip tightened on the phone. What else could he possibly take? Daniel's answer came slowly, and when he said it, I felt my entire world tilt. Something your dad left for you. I froze. My dad, it had been over 10 years since he passed, and the one thing he left behind for me was a small lock safe. It wasn't much to anyone else, a few papers, a few photographs, but to me, it was everything. A part of him I could still touch, still feel, still call mine. I couldn't believe it. Mark had taken it. All this time, everything had been about power, control, and now the one thing connecting me to my father had vanished. My heart raced, my hands trembling as I gripped the phone tighter. Daniel, where is it? I asked, my voice breaking. He didn't answer right away. I don't know, he finally said. Mom, she doesn't know either. He just left with it. And she's terrified. Terrified. That word echoed in my head. My mom, the woman who had once been so strong, so unshakable, now calling me nonstop, pleading, desperate, it made sense. She wasn't calling because she missed me. She was calling because she was scared. Because the man who had manipulated her, betrayed her, and isolated her had taken something she could never replace. I dropped onto the couch, head in my hands. For the first time in years, I felt the anger that had been simmering inside me explode. Not at my mom. Not at Daniel. At Mark, the man who had turned our lives upside down, who had lied, who had stolen, who had broken the one bond that could never be replaced. But then something else hit me. Along with the anger, a strange, dark calm settled over me. If Mark thought he could play this game and get away with it, he had another thing coming. I pulled out my laptop and started retracing Mark's steps. I went over the conversations I had with my mom, every incident I had dismissed as nothing. Every time I had felt his gaze linger too long, every time he tried to control the situation. Patterns emerged. Predictable patterns. Mark was clever, but not careful. Arrogant, but sloppy when he thought no one was watching. And arrogance was his weakness. I opened social media, scanned through his friends, his posts, his check-ins. One thing stood out immediately. He had a favorite cafe he went to almost every morning. Every check-in, every photo he tagged himself in. The same place. The same time. I didn't tell Daniel, I didn't tell my mom, not yet. If I went in unprepared, I'd risk losing everything. The money, the safe, maybe even my mom's safety if he realized I was tracking him. For the next 12 hours, I stayed glued to my computer. I mapped every known location. I cross-referenced his online activity with his usual routes, his friends, his habits. Slowly, the pieces started fitting together. He was predictable. Too predictable. And then I found it. A single post he didn't realize was public. A picture of the safe, my father's safe, sitting in the backseat of his car. He had posted it on a car enthusiast forum, bragging about how he upgraded his collection. My blood ran cold, and then just as quickly it burned hot with a single thought. I could get it back. I didn't sleep that night. I planned every detail. I needed to be careful. Mark wasn't just a thief. He was a man who would lie, cheat, and manipulate to get what he wanted. And now he had underestimated me. The next morning, I told my mom I was going out, but I didn't tell her where. I just needed to clear my head, she thought. Little did she know I was already moving pieces on a chessboard Mark didn't even know existed. I got to the cafe by late morning. I sat across the street, watching. Mark walked in exactly at the time I predicted and smiled as if the world belonged to him. He didn't notice me. He couldn't. I took out my phone and started recording his movements. Every step, every glance, every interaction. He was showing his arrogance, his recklessness. I knew I had one chance, one opportunity to retrieve my father's safe and expose everything he had done without him knowing I was behind it. Then a sudden thought hit me. What if Mark had anticipated someone like me? What if the arrogance I was relying on to catch him was actually a trap he had set years ago? I felt my pulse quicken. I had been planning for hours, convinced of my strategy, convinced I was ready. But the moment I realized the possibility, the doubt crept in. What if he had been manipulating me the entire time? What if the safe wasn't just stolen property? What if it was bait for something bigger? I sat there, frozen, watching him laugh with someone in the cafe. And then it hit me, he wasn't alone. Not fully. There was someone else with him, someone who looked familiar, someone whose face I couldn't quite place, but whose presence made the hair on my neck stand up. I took a deeper breath, trying to steady myself. I couldn't let fear control me. Not now. Not when everything I had planned was on the line. I needed to move, but I needed to be smart. I couldn't confront him here. Too many witnesses. Too many variables. I decided to follow him from a safe distance. Every turn he made, every street he walked down, I followed. My mind raced with scenarios, with what-ifs, with contingency plans. By mid-afternoon, he stopped at a storage facility on the outskirts of town. My heart pounded. This was it. This was the place where everything would either fall into place or collapse completely. I parked a block away and watched. The safe my father's legacy was probably inside, and Mark, he was completely unaware that I was here, watching, planning, waiting. As I crouched behind my car, formulating my next move, my phone buzzed. A message from my mom. Please be careful. I know you're trying to fix this. I don't want to lose you too. Her words hit me harder than anything else. Fear, worry, desperation, all packed into a single sentence. And in that moment, I realized something. This wasn't just about the safe, or about Mark, or even about revenge. This was about family, about protecting what's left of the people I loved. I slipped my phone back into my pocket. I could feel the tension in the air, thick enough to cut with a knife. Every sound, every movement, every shadow became amplified. Mark wasn't expecting me, not like this. I checked my surroundings one last time. Empty streets, no pedestrians, no cameras pointing directly at me. Everything was in place. The trap, if you could call it that, was set. I took a slow, deep breath, steadying my hands, my mind, my heartbeat. I was about to take the first step into a game that had been years in the making, a game of secrets, lies, betrayal, and the slow, inevitable rise of revenge. And as I watched Mark unlock the storage unit and push the safe inside, I knew one thing for certain. He had no idea what was coming. Not yet. But I did, and when he realized it, it would be too late. I waited, crouched in the shadow of a dumpster, my eyes fixed on the storage unit. Mark was inside, fumbling with the combination on the lock. His arrogance made him careless. He didn't check behind him, didn't even glance around. I knew this was the moment. Every calculation, every plan, every sleepless hour led to this. I took a deep breath and stepped forward, making just enough noise to catch his attention. He froze, glancing over his shoulder, and for the first time, I saw panic flash across his face. Looking for something. I asked quietly, my voice calm but sharp. Mark straightened immediately, masking his fear with a smirk. Well, if it isn't the little hero trying to play detective, you shouldn't be here. I didn't answer. Instead, I moved closer, keeping my eyes on the safe. My heart pounded, not from fear, but from the rush of control. I could almost taste the vindication, the justice that had been years in the making. He blocked my path with his body, trying to intimidate me. Step back. This doesn't concern you. I shook my head slowly. Everything about this concerns me. Everything you've done, the lies, the theft, the manipulation, it all ends today. Mark laughed, a harsh, cold sound. You, stop. You think you can take me down. You're nothing. You've always been nothing. Something inside me snapped. Not anger, not revenge, not yet. Clarity, all of the fear, all of the helplessness I had felt over the past week crystallized into one clear truth. This wasn't just about the safe. It wasn't just about Mark. It was about showing my mom and myself that no one, not even someone who tried to destroy our lives, could control us. I lunged forward, not recklessly but with precision, forcing him back into the corner of the storage unit. He stumbled, momentarily stunned, and that gave me just enough time to grab the safe. It was heavy, but I had trained for moments like this. Every memory of my father's voice urging me to be smart, to be patient, to be strong, guiding me. Mark scrambled after me, trying to wrestle it back, but I was ready. Years of watching him, waiting for this opportunity, gave me the advantage. I twisted, dodged, and finally, with one strong motion, slammed the safe down onto the ground. The metal clanged against the concrete, echoing like a warning. Mark froze, staring at me, disbelief written all over his face. For once, he was powerless. You underestimated me, I said quietly, my chest heaving. You underestimated what family means. You underestimated the love that can't be broken. He lunged again, but I sidestepped. using his momentum to send him stumbling into the wall. He fell hard, and for a moment, I wondered if I should, but I stopped. I didn't need to hurt him. I needed him to see the consequences of his actions. I pulled out my phone and dialed my mom. She answered immediately, voice trembling. "Mom, I have it," I said. "Thank God," she whispered. "As heal as he. Safe," I assured her. "Everything is going to be okay. I've got the safe, and he can't touch us anymore." Her sobs of relief were immediate. I didn't know what to do. I was so scared. "You don't have to be scared anymore," I said softly. "I'm here." I turned back to Mark, who was now struggling to get up. He glared at me, fury burning in his eyes, but there was nothing he could do. Every scheme, every lie, every manipulation had crumbled. I looked at him one last time. "You tried to take everything from me, my family, my father's legacy, my mom's peace. But you forgot one thing: I fight for what matters. And what matters is stronger than fear, stronger than greed, stronger than you." He said nothing. He could say nothing. And in that silence, I felt something powerful: closure. The weight that had been pressing down on me, the helplessness, the rage, it all started to lift. I called Daniel next, explaining what had happened. He promised to meet me at my mom's house to help move the safe back and make sure everything was secure. By the time we got home, my mom was waiting at the door, her face pale but shining with relief. I handed her the safe, and together we opened it. Inside were the letters, the photographs, the documents my father had left for me, all untouched, just as he intended. My mom held my hand, tears rolling down her cheeks. "I don't know how to thank you," she whispered. "You don't have to," I said. "We're family. That's enough." For the first time in a long time, I felt peace. But it wasn't just peace, it was a promise. A promise that no one would ever manipulate, control, or threaten our family again. Days later, Mark tried to contact us, but we were ready. The authorities were involved, the accounts were secured, and every step he could take to hurt us had been anticipated. He was powerless. And yet the sense of victory wasn't about revenge anymore. It was about reclaiming our lives, about restoring the trust and love that had been threatened for so long. My mom hugged me one evening, holding me close. "I was so scared," she said. "I know," I replied, "but you're safe now. We're safe." And in that moment, I realized something profound. Revenge had brought clarity, but it was love and loyalty that truly saved us. It wasn't the fear of Mark that protected us, it was our bond, our patience, and our courage to act when it mattered most. As I watched my mom tuck Daniel's younger cousins into bed, I thought about the long road we had traveled, from betrayal, lies, and fear to courage, strength, and restored trust. And though the scars would remain, so would the knowledge that we had survived. Mark's absence became a distant memory. Every time my mom smiled, every time I held the safe that carried my father's legacy, I felt the weight lift just a little more. Life wasn't perfect, but we had reclaimed what mattered most: our family, our truth, and the knowledge that nothing, no lies, no manipulation, could ever break us again. And though I knew the past would always be with us, it no longer controlled us. We had survived the darkness, outsmarted the deceiver, and come out stronger. And in that strength, I found something more powerful than revenge itself: peace. The phone buzzed on the table. Another missed call. I looked at the screen. It was my mom. I answered immediately. "Hey," she said softly. "Hey," I replied. "I just wanted to hear your voice," she whispered. I smiled, finally allowing myself to feel the weight of everything lift. "Always," I said. And as I hung up, I realized we had not only survived the storm, we had finally come home.